attention. There's a stigma about the Buffalo Bills having a good defense when I don't think they actually do. A lot of your everyday fantasy player, and maybe with any luck at all, 70% of the leagues you jump in don't understand that Buffalo, just because Rex and Rob Ryan are there, have a good defense. They don't have a very good defense. They don't stop the run.
I'll be honest with you. If you look up their individual or their team defense stats, they're at the top of a lot, or at the top of, not the very top, but they're in the top 5, top 8 of all the categories you want. They just don't have a very impactful defense that changes the outcome of a game.
Probably correct. But the statistic that jumps out to me is them being 27th overall against the run in for fantasy points. Running backs have a decent day against them week in and week out.
Well, and we're at a point to where the running backs are going to be having more success, I think, I said, with the weather.
Weather will affect you in Buffalo for sure.
And you definitely can run, like I said, you definitely can run on these suckers.
And the one thing that you have to watch week in and week out with that Miami Dolphins team is that offensive line healthy? And if they've got a healthy offensive line, they run block just as good as about 5 other top 5 teams in the NFL. They're not as good as Dallas. I'm not saying that, but boy, they run block really well. Matt Moore is a very capable backup. Matt Moore was the AFC Offensive Player of the Week last week. Now, provided he played the Jets, and there's a good chance that I probably could have thrown 3 touchdowns. But this team they're not lacking without Ryan Tannehill. Matt Moore's a pro. He's been around a while. He walks in and plays. I love J.J. this week. Just love it. Mentioned that I love Latavius Murray. Tell me how you feel about Todd Gurley.
Oh, that's such a... He's been
it sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you know what you want to assume that he's, obviously he's playing the worst fucking...
Yeah, great matchup.
One of the worst teams in the NFL, and definitely the worst team as far as they give up the most points to the running back position. And it's not even fucking close, to be honest with you.
No, it's not.
And what's sad is number 3 isn't close to number 2 by 35 points.
Yeah.
So
between San Francisco is just, they get rolled over. Cleveland gets rolled over. Washington gets rolled over. The Saints get rolled over.
Yeah, but however, with this week, don't you feel that Los Angeles is so one-dimensional?
Yeah, they completely are.
They can shut them down. So you're taking a real chance, but the matchup says, you have Gurley and you're starting him against the worst, defense for the position. But
I'm bringing him up for a reason.
It's kind of funny.
Before I ever look at any of these values, I always try to deduce who I like and who I don't like prior to looking at the value. And when I look at Todd Gurley, I think, boy, he's got a matchup. There could be some value there. If he's priced in this middle price range of like 63 to 68, then there might be something there. He's not. He's priced at 79. Don't touch him. If he scores 3 touchdowns, I'll still be okay with not touching him. 79 is way too much to risk.
I would be too.
And no value. You're better off taking Devonta Freeman at 7,800.
Yeah, which I would be a little apprehensive against.
Carolina, sure,
not going to give you those huge points.
But you know 2 things in this scenario. 1, Todd Gurley plays for a team that doesn't have a quarterback, and 2, Todd Gurley plays for a team that doesn't score any points.
Yes.
Those 2 things alone are not worth spending $7,900 on Todd.
No, I don't think so.
No,
possibly Marco Murray kind of shines out. He did pretty well against them, Jacksonville, the last time they played. But remember, and we kind of joked earlier today,
you got the Hawk himself.
Derrick Henry got molested or DeMarco Murray got molested by Derrick Henry's ball hawking.
Well, I'm going to throw one last running back at you, and then we're going to have to slide right along to wide receivers. Doug Martin plays the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans on the turf. Tampa's front 5 offensive line did not look very good the other night. That is against Dallas. They couldn't open a hole for Doug Martin to save their life. Does Doug Martin get a bounce back here against a New Orleans team that can't stop anybody?
I could see him scoring and doing well on the ground, but, from my understanding, Charles Sims is completely healthy, and he's gonna steal some touches from him in the passing game. And I don't think he's going to give you the points you're going to need to win.
I still think Jacquizz Rodgers fits that system.
I think better, yeah.
Yeah,
better.
I do. I think Doug Martin's the better running back. I'm not saying he isn't, but I just think that Jacquizz Rodgers, they were a lot more alive offensively. There was a lot more of a spark there. He seemed to be more of that electric scat back out of the backfield. I don't want to compare Darren Sproles, but it's okay. That's a fair comparison. He's just a little bit more electric than Doug Martin is out of the backfield. Doug Martin's a good running back, and this guy starts anywhere in the NFL. But, yeah, I like Doug Martin this week against New Orleans. I think he's worth a look, but maybe not much more than a look. Any love on Ty Montgomery?
For the same hit-or-miss reasons, not necessarily against Minnesota. Mm-hmm. He did go off, but I passed for the same reason. Like I said, I'm looking for the guys that I think are going to do the best, not that are just going to be good. That's my first, especially because I'm trying to commit to this position more than anything else because I'm really confused at the wide receiver. So
okay, I'm going to give you my last cheap running back, and then we got to get to wide receivers here. But I like Deion Lewis.
Okay.
I do. I like Deion Lewis because Bill Belichick doesn't love Deion Lewis. This is the time of year where Belichick knows he can win this game against the Jets. The Jets always play them tight, but this isn't the same thing. This Jets team is done. I look for Deion Lewis to find himself with 6 or 7 catches and maybe another 12 to 15 touches out of the backfield and a touchdown. So I love Deion Lewis at 5,100. Pay attention to him. He might be an interesting play. So that said, my friend, let's slide on to wide receivers, and we'll just double time it when we get down to kickers and defense.
First, obviously, my high-dollar chalk guy, I'd like Mike Evans to bounce back and have a good game.
Okay. Hard not to against the Saints.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. I think you're going to see him and maybe even not to get to tight ends, but Cameron Braid have another decent game. He played with that chip on his shoulder, ex-team thing going on. Sure. So I'm not starting Jameis. I don't think he's going to have the game you need to win. But
he might because it's not on national television. It's not against a good defense. That's when he plays well.
There's a possibility. I don't know.
Sorry to all you Jameis lovers out there, but so far, big game. He overthrows everybody.
Yeah, he got a little overzealous.
Well, he's not that accurate. There's your answer. He's not that accurate. He's just not a pinpoint passer. Throwing these balls over the top, receivers run under those. He throws a good ball. Don't get me wrong, but he's just not. He's not Drew Brees. He's kind
of like maybe not as polished, but he really, and it's been said before, he really reminds me of Brett Favre.
Not me. Not me. I thought you were going to go the Ben Roethlisberger route.
Well, I like Ben Roethlisberger too, but I just mean like Favre could make so many mistakes too. You didn't have,
Favre was sloppy. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have that with Peyton Manning, let's say.
No, Peyton was a best player.
So when I see Jameis, I see a guy that can win me, that can throw deep balls, that can do whatever, but he's going to make some mistakes. So
no, and I hear the tempo and the belief in the Tampa Bay area is that Jameis is going to win a Super Bowl in Tampa, and that's probably not inaccurate at all. The kid can play. He is a winner. He's proved he can win. But I'll wait. I'm not going to crown his ass right now.
Yeah, I want to see what he can do when he has another wide receiver.
That's the biggest thing that team is missing. It's
horrible. Like a viable wide receiver.
Nothing on the other side. But to wide receivers we go, my man. Let's pick him up. Mike Evans is probably a pretty good chalk choice this week. You figure
Mike Evans, a little cheaper, so I guess in the next tier, but I think he'll do pretty well. T.Y. Hilton. I like Deshaun Jackson. Okay.
I do like D-Jax this week. I also suggest you look for Amari Cooper to rebound.
That's what I was wanting to ask you about. Is what are your? I thought Michael Crabtree would be the better choice.
He probably is. They looked again. This is all about matchups. They looked Cooper's way 3 times. 3 times against the Chargers because that Hayward kid was covering him, and that kid is probably made of glue.
Okay.
He was. I've watched a handful of Charger games this year. A handful, one against the Bucks. That Hayward kid is a good cover corner. He sticks to people. I think he's leading the league in interceptions with like 8 right now. He is a hawk. They don't just, why go in his direction? Just why? You got Crabtree on the other side. Why throw at him? But he covered Cooper well. This week, I don't know that anybody in Indianapolis is going to cover Amari Cooper well. And when they have somebody on the other side that doesn't stick to him like glue, they go his direction. For example, when Marcus Peters was off him and on Crabtree when they played the Chiefs that night, they looked at Cooper's direction 10 times. 5 catches, 29 yards. We all know that game was an abomination anyway. But, yeah, look for Coop to get loose this week. This is his rebound week. I think you have to have him in a lineup someplace.
Okay. Well, I would say then you probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have T.Y. and Cooper in the same lineup.
I like T.Y. Hilton this week, too, and I do. If T.Y. Hilton's on Sean Smith, the Raiders' big free agent acquisition that they gave a bunch of money to, if he has to cover T.Y. Hilton, he's going to do a lot of chasing. Hilton can fly. Smith is big, strong, not fast. Hilton will burn him at least once. And I would expect T.Y. In my notes, I'm looking down at it right here. It says T.Y. gets 1. He's going to get 1 at least. And it'd probably be a big one, probably be a 60-yarder up over the top. I like Cooper and Hilton. It's getting a little expensive in here, but I like Cooper and Hilton.
Yeah, when you start putting in Deshaun Jackson or some of these other guys that we're going to cover here, I like Rashard Matthews. I think he kind of has a chance at bouncing back. Not bouncing back, he scored 10.5. I just think that if he gets a score, then that becomes a pretty damn good day. He did have a fumble as well, so
he did.
I think you've established this. You pretty much turned me on to him earlier in the season. He's the favorite target of Mariota.
He is.
He did pretty well at Jacksonville. Got 11 at 8 the first time they played. Scored 11.8. And did score a touchdown. I see it not being such a close game. Remember the Jacksonville game the first time was kind of blah. I think Tennessee's going to open it up. They're a much better team. They're one of the teams like the Bucs that are getting better as the season's gone on. They've started playing better than they played.
Rapid improvement. Good running game, good offensive line. Defense is getting better. Yeah, Tennessee's a team to look at here coming down the pipe.
Yeah, and like I said, Derrick Henry's got fresh legs, so you're going to see them pound them. And I think that's really going to open up the pass, and I think Matthews is going to be the benefactor of that.
I don't mind at all.
Number 3, so him or Malcolm Mitchell, if you're starting Brady, you might as well go with him.
Okay.
I think, like I said, if you're going to start Brady, you've got to have a lineup with him in it or Edelman. I wouldn't do both. But
as much as they mix the ball up there, yeah, I just wouldn't do both. It seems like he likes Malcolm Mitchell around the end zone a lot more.
That's kind of how I feel with this, and at 6,100, so he's going to be my third wide receiver in some lineups. Not all my great lineups. I'm not sold on him.
I would take last week's stat line and pitch it with 1 target, 1 catch for 14 yards. He had Aqib Talib and Chris Harris and T.J. Ward thumping down on him. Nobody caught the ball against Denver last week. Yeah, I like Malcolm Mitchell. And he does, you're right, that 6,100 opens up your lineup a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. Plus, you saw the Jets just got tossed all over. And just something says it's his time to get 2 touchdowns, maybe in 70 yards and 6 catches. I don't know.
I can dream, can he?
Yeah, I wish that'd be awesome.
I like it.
And then here's one that I got a couple that you may.
Yeah, give me some dark horses here. I like it.
One's not necessarily a dark horse because he's coming on, and you saw what happened to Arizona last week with the Drew Brees and company. I think Tyler Lockett at $4,700 is a fucking steal.
Yeah, that's a good look. He did not cross my nose at all, but that's a really nice play.
Yeah, just at that value alone, and like you said, I think talking about teams quitting, I think Arizona may be quitting and be falling apart, and playing at Seattle. I could see him breaking one open.
I get you. Let me throw another one at you there in the same price bracket. I love Ted Ginn again this week.
Okay. Yeah, definitely against Atlanta.
Yeah.